Alright, well here I am back again with another Samsung related repair video. This time it is our stove, which actually we've had for about 12 years. However, it looks like we've had some thermal expansion, which you can see here. This whole entire top is cracked. So, can't repair it, you have to replace it. I found this company that you can actually buy this, so I'm going to go ahead now and go through the process of replacing this. Okay, so the obvious first part is to take it out of its space wherever it is. Make sure that you unplug it. As this is 220 volt and that will not be fun. Tool wise, all you're going to need is a light just so you can see what you're doing, and then either a screwdriver or a impact like I'm using. Actually, this is a drill, but whatever you want to use to be able to remove the pieces. So the first thing you're going to want to remove is this back panel right here, and you're going to see that there's screws all the way around it. So just trace it, be able to take this back panel off. Now that that back panel is off, so I took the bottom panel and the top panel, I've noticed a couple interesting things. One, there's some burn marks in some different places. Everything functions the way that it should, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's maybe the best thing in the world. However, the most interesting thing that I found is this envelope, that if I take this envelope out, it says, "Do not remove envelope or destroy contents." So apparently the wiring diagram and the parts information is in here. It seems pretty ominous, so I'm not sure if this is a letter from somebody at the factory. Go ahead and leave a comment if you know if that's what this is, because this is really crazy. Okay, next step is to start removing the screws from the top. So you're gonna see here, I'm now in the front of the stove. You're gonna see there are screws here. There's 3 of them. So you're gonna go ahead and remove those, and then you will have the front part of this unsecured. Now that you've disconnected the glass panel, the next step is you want to disconnect these 2 cables here. And if I go over here, you want to disconnect this cable as well. Now that you have those two sides of the connectors disconnected, I want to make mindful note of this ground wire as well. All right, now that everything is free, you should be able to just get under here and carefully, because this is glass and it's already starting to crack more, pull this free, make sure that it clears that, and then now you have your top. So your next step is you're going to want to bring this to a flat surface so that you can disconnect that stuff and transfer it to the new part.
What happened?
I got this from, I think it's Genuine Appliances. I will put a link in the description. Basically, make sure you get your model number. But let's go ahead and open this up and get the new part out. And with the magic of editing, we have the new top. Now, not going to look much different than the old top. In fact, I hope it's exactly the same. Otherwise, this isn't going to fit. So now you can probably tell what the next step is. You have to move these, don't know what they're called, but you have to basically move these 2 rails here and the actual heating elements to the other side. They sit freely on the glass portion. So it should just be a matter of 8 screws and move it over. Let's see if that's actually in practice. Be mindful on these ones here. So it's your 3, basically your 2 top burn heating elements and then the warming. There looks like a ground as well as extra wires. So you want to go ahead and make sure you reattach those when you put this back on the new top. Okay, now that that is free, you want to go ahead and carefully lift this up. And this is all connected, so you're either going to do this 2 parts or you could separate them and do them separately. I'm going to carefully try to do them as one continuous unit. And you don't have to be super accurate with where you place these, because the brackets in the base is actually going to put it where it needs to be. So now it's basically just a process of making sure that you put those different, you have these different wires here. You want to make sure that you put those back on with the screws, and you should be good to put this back on the stove. Now that the top is back on, I want to go ahead and reconnect these cables. Remember, you have the 2 here. You have one plug here, and then you want to make sure you also have, which I got kind of stuck, the ground screw, which goes right there, but turn it over so that it obviously matches the orientation and goes right back there. Now we essentially just put everything back together. So next step is the small back panel. Last thing before, of course, you plug this in is just make sure that you put those 3 screws in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and do that next. You can see that everything is blinking, which is good. Plugged it in, turn the power back on. Before we put this back in its little cove, I'm just going to quickly turn on something. So we'll just do the front burner, put on high, and we will wait. See if there's any weird sounds or anything, but you can already see the camera picks it up so much better than it really looks. I'll go ahead and quickly turn on the other ones just to make sure that everything is working the way that it should be. And I've got left side, right rear, left rear, and then the warming center you're not going to see anyways, but I would consider this a success. Maybe let it heat up a little bit, maybe clean the top, because who knows where this thing's been, but then again, you don't eat off of this. As far as how difficult this was, I'd probably rate this 3. You know, sharp parts, high voltage, but make sure you have it unplugged. Take your time, and you should be able to do this no problem. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions on the process, go ahead and leave one in the comments below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Though I don't generally make Samsung videos, I keep saying that. If you look in the cards up above, you'll see that clearly I've fixed them more than I'd like to.